Hey guys, it's Andrea from VW Family Farm and welcome back to the homestead. Today it's nasty, it's rainy, it's gotten cold again. I told you it was like 60 degrees. Well, that ended. We woke up to, I promise you, it was like 60 or 70 degrees this morning. A big line of storms rolled through. I've seen a lot of y'all got ice out of that. We just got storms, and then after that the temperature has dropped and we're going to be back to the 20s tonight. So a span of like 12 hours we've dropped like 50 degrees. It's crazy. So we're inside today, staying warm, got all the chores done. We did have to get out and do that. Ben's out checking traps, but it is supper time and I want to do something warm and kind of comfort food, but I'm also trying to stick more to the low carb side of things. And I saw a post on Instagram. I wish I could remember who put it on there, but I can't. I went back and tried to look. I had Emily try to look to give credit where credit was due. And it was a low carb lasagna. It was meant to be like roast your spaghetti squash. Instead of noodles, you use spaghetti squash. Roast those in the oven and then put it all together and bake it in the oven. But I am transforming this recipe along with a handy little book that was given to me, and I want to show y'all that right now. Wardy over at Traditional Cooking School, and I know you can find them on YouTube. They have a huge website that's really awesome. Let's see, what else do they have? They're probably on Facebook. They're probably on all social medias. But she is one of the first traditional food bloggers I started reading. And like I said, she has a really awesome website. She will teach you with you knowing nothing, how to cook with traditional foods and how to prepare in traditional ways, like getting you started on sourdough, on kombucha, on making sour cream off your raw cream from your raw milk, just all kinds of things like that. We've looked to her throughout the years for so much info. She's just a wealth of knowledge, and that's why she's been successful with her blog and her website. And so I have been following her and, you know, cooking the way she does and things like that for several years now. So I reached out to her and said, hey, I would love to share about you on our channel because I really do enjoy watching you. And so she asked me what book I would like to kind of review and share with you guys. And I asked her for her book on pressure cooking. And I want to show that to y'all. She has a pressure cooking course 1 and 2. This is pressure cooking number 2. So it's not only to do with the Instapot, it talks about using a pressure cooker on your stove because a lot of people use those as well. Not everyone has an Instapot, I realize that. So what I'm doing tonight, y'all should go check Wardy out first off. Check her out, check her website out. You can sign up on her website for what's called Traditional Cooking School and go through all these videos, and just she has tons of information she shares with you when you sign up for that. She's also just very generous and she shares a lot just for free. So you can get some recipes and lessons and things like that just by going to her website. She'll email you a ton of resources. So y'all need to check her out, traditionalcookingschool.com. But let's get back to this recipe for tonight because I think this is going to be really good. So what I'm doing is taking the post off Instagram, taking Wardy's book and kind of converting that into an Instapot recipe. So the first step is simply cook your spaghetti squash because that's going to be your noodles. This is a low carb lasagna. So low carb means no pasta noodles. So I'm going to pressure the spaghetti squash. I'm going to bring you over here because I got them shoved down in there and wedged in there. I got 2 in this is my 8-quart Instapot. It's my bigger one. I'm going to show you how you would make this recipe with only having 1 Instapot because I have 2. And sometimes I tend to get them both going at the same time just because it's that much easier. But I'm going to pretend that I only have 1 and show y'all how to do this just in 1 Instapot. So the first step is pressure these for 30 minutes. She said do it anywhere from 20 to 40 on whole spaghetti squash. I need to poke some holes with the serrated knife. So I'm going to bring y'all over here and I'm going to get this started. And then I'm going to let those pressure probably for about 10 or 20 minutes, and then I'll come back with y'all and start getting everything else together so that when those finish I can keep rolling with this. So come on over here. Okay, these look kind of dirty, but they're not. I've cleaned them up. They've just been out in the garage. I've cleaned them up. We're only going to eat the inside anyway, but these are wedged in there pretty good. But you need to take a knife and you need to poke probably like 4 slits in each one. So I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, I'm gonna pour about 2 cups of water down in here. A little trivet thing comes with your Instapot. That would be really good to use to keep these up out of the water. But these are so big, I couldn't fit it under these. So I'm just putting the 2 cups of water in there. I'm gonna put the lid on, maybe. Yeah. I'm gonna put it to sealing. Then I'm gonna push manual. And I'm gonna go down to about 30 minutes. And that's it. I'll be back with y'all in a little bit and get the rest of this recipe going. Okay guys, we are back. The spaghetti squash got done, so let's come over here and vent the Instapot and get going with this recipe. Okay, so as you can see, the little red thing that comes up when it still has pressure is still up. So here's what I do when I want to vent the pressure. This has been sitting for a while, so it shouldn't have a whole lot of pressure, but I just throw like a little dish towel over it, and then I vent it to let it catch any steam, and there's not any, so obviously this little red thing just hadn't fallen down, because you can see it's down now. So the lid is ready to be opened. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get these hot spaghetti squash out. I'm gonna put them just in a baking dish just to kind of cool for a little bit, and then I'm gonna get going on the rest of it, and I'll come back to these in a minute. And you need to be careful because these are hot. First thing you're going to want to do is poke those with a fork just to ensure that they got good and tender. I'm sure these did because I let them cook 30 minutes and sit here for a while. So I'm going to do that now. And they're totally good, falling apart. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, I told you guys I was going to show y'all how to do this with one Instant Pot. That way, if that's all you have, you can do this. This has just got some water in it that was from steaming the spaghetti squash. I'm just going to dump that out. Now I am going to cancel that out. So I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to hit saute. And I'm going to wait. I'm going to put it on the more setting so it's on high. And I'm going to wait until this says hot. So I'm going to wait a few minutes. And I actually have never waited till it said hot before, but I'm going to do that and see if that actually comes on mine, and then we'll move on. Okay guys, my Instapot, Emily can show you down here, it actually does read hot when it gets hot enough to like sear something. So I'm just putting, this is a 2-pound package of our home-raised beef. I'm going to just put that in there and brown it. We'll go ahead and get something in there. So I've actually never done this before. I've used the saute function, but I've never used it and waited for it to get hot like this, like you would in a cast iron skillet. So I think this is a pretty handy feature if you're trying to do like a one-pot meal. I kind of tend to brown and then put it in here. Okay, so while this beef is browning, I'm going to add some stuff to it. I'm going to add a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of oregano. And then I went out to the greenhouse and snuck some fresh little leaves of basil. I'm just gonna chunk that up and put that in there. It smells amazing. I love basil pesto. That's one of my favorite things. That's totally off topic, but it started making me think of pesto. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that brown, and then I will be back with you. Okay, so I took the spaghetti squash and used a fork and just got it out of its skin, discarded the seeds, and it's just in this bowl with some salt and pepper. I love putting ghee in spaghetti squash because it has a really good flavor, really has a lot stronger flavor to me than butter. So I'm gonna put a scoop of ghee in here, which when you're eating low carb, you can eat more healthy fats and still lose weight. So I do love that part of it. So I'm just gonna mix this ghee in. Now, some people like to do things really beautifully and layer things and do a bunch of different layers on lasagna, meat, sauce, noodles, all that. That's just not me. I'm gonna throw it all together, slap some cheese on top, and call it good. So I considered taking the ground beef out of the pot and putting these noodles back in and layering it all up beautifully, but that's just not who I am. So I'm gonna throw these noodles in there, and I missed a couple seeds, so I'm grabbing those as I see them. I have left the ground beef in here. Emily, if you want to come over here. Our ground beef that we raised really doesn't cook out much grease, so I don't even have to drain it. I'm gonna put this spaghetti squash down in there. And the ground beef has already got all the spices in it. And then I'm going to use a jar of this Great Value pizza sauce in it. This is my favorite pizza sauce. This is Walmart brand. Basically, it is cheap, but it has no sugar. It's just tomato puree and then some salt and spices and stuff like that. And it has a little bit of oil in it, but it has no sugar. So if you're on a low carb diet, you have to watch sauces that you buy at the store because they'll have added sugar in them, and this doesn't, and it's really good and it's really inexpensive. One of my goals for this year is to can a lot of tomato sauce, not necessarily pizza sauce and spaghetti sauce and all that, because I can spice it up when I'm ready to use it, but tomato sauce, thick tomato sauce. So I'm growing tomatoes with that in mind, but so far I've not been able to get it really thick like I like it, so I'm using a store-bought can. So I'm just gonna dump that whole thing in there. This is not precise at all. Like I said, it's 2 spaghetti squash, 2 pounds of ground beef, and that is a 23.9 ounce jar. Ben likes to boss me when the camera's off.
Nuh-uh, she was just bossing me.
Okay, the last step to this simple supper that I'm cooking up is my homemade cheddar. If you have not tried it, it's so easy, it's ridiculous. If you have raw milk you buy, or if you have a cow you milk, you need to be making your own cheese because it's so easy. And cheese is expensive. And we actually have a video on how I make my cheese, so we will link that for y'all. I'm actually just cutting what I'd call slabs of cheese here, and I'm just gonna lay them on top. So I'm just going to place these around on top. You don't have to cover it completely, but go for it if you want. The last step to this, and again guys, I'm just kind of making this up using Wardy's book. It's an ebook, but she also sells it in print. It's pressure cooking class 1, and then there's number 2 also that's a little bit more in depth. So I am using some of her recipes and just kind of adapting them as my own. I'm gonna turn this on to manual. All I really need for that to do is melt the cheese. So I am literally gonna put that on about 5 minutes and put it to sealing. Now here's my disclaimer. This may or may not work because I'm just experimenting here, but that's what I do with the Instant Pot. I've used it enough that I'm really comfortable with it. The worst case scenario is when you put something in there that doesn't have a very high water content to it, it's not gonna pressure up, because that boiling water steaming is what creates the pressure that pops that little thing up and then seals it off and creates your pressure. So worst case scenario, this is not gonna seal and pressure, but it's still gonna melt my cheese. So I'm just gonna keep it on it. Hopefully this is an awesome success. And while we're waiting on that to do, because after 5 minutes that's gonna be done and we're gonna be ready to eat, I am gonna link a couple things. I'm actually gonna have Lane put them in the description. Wardy generously shared a link with me in turn so I could share it with y'all. And it's an Instant Pot recipe of sourdough cornbread, which I think sounds really interesting, in the Instant Pot. There's a stovetop method too, so if you don't have an Instant Pot, it'll work with that. But I'm gonna have Lane put that link down there for that free recipe. Check that out. You need to go check her out because I've been following her for a long time just because she is like a genius in traditional cooking. And I'm also gonna share one more thing with you.
I need some more cheese.
Quit eating cheese.
I like this cheese. A good cheese.
Okay, I'm also gonna link a blog post from Wardy. It's called "So Your Instant Pot is Still in the Box: How to Get Over the Hump and Actually Use It." Because I have had so many people say, so-and-so bought me an Instant Pot for Christmas like over a year ago, and I'm afraid of the thing. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to use it. So that is gonna be a great resource for y'all to just get started. It's really not scary. Y'all should just jump in there and use it. It's really awesome on saving time. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna end with showing you this delicious supper, and I'll let you know, did it pressure up and work without water in there. Thanks for watching, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Be sure to like and subscribe, leave us a comment, hit that like button. I know I already said that, but like, because that lets YouTube know that you like our videos, and we appreciate that so much. be sure and catch us on the live. You are going to be seeing this on Friday morning. I made this mistake last week. The video that came out on Friday morning, I said we will see y'all tomorrow, because right now it will be tomorrow. But by the time you see it, it'll be tonight. So catch us tonight at 8 o'clock, Friday night, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. So it'll be 9 o'clock Eastern. We're trying to respect the others who are going live and give them an hour and not horn in on their time. So catch us at 8 Central Time Friday night. We're going to discuss meetup details and maybe other stuff too. So just come hang out with us. Thanks again. God bless. All right, guys, it pressured up pretty well, but not like it normally does when you put something in there that has some water in the bottom. So I would probably suggest, if you're going to cook like a casserole in the Instapot, maybe put it in a dish and insert that in the Instapot. But Wardy has tons of great resources on cooking in the Instapot. I'm constantly reading and learning. So go check out some of her resources, and let me show you what it looks like though. It turned out really good. All right, Emily, we're gonna record you trying it, okay? Oh, look at that cheese.
I love cheese. Hold on.
And be honest if it's any good. You gotta go,
I almost choked.
Choking live on camera.
I would give it an 11 out of 10.
Awesome.